You're always there for her, and that's why she never misses you. And this is the mistake that keeps you out of her mind. You think attraction is built by being present. More messages, more attention, more consistency. You keep the conversation going. You don't let it die, you stay in touch. And it feels right. But this is where most men get it wrong. Because constant presence doesn't create attraction, it removes it. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because nothing looks broken. She still replies, still engages. But something is missing. She doesn't think about you when you're not there. And that changes everything. First mistake, you remove all space. You text every day. You reply instantly. She sends something. You answer in seconds. You check if she saw your message. You open the chat again. You send another message just to keep it alive. You think you're building connection. She never has time to feel your absence. And without absence, nothing stays. Nothing builds. Nothing grows. Nothing stays in her mind. And this is where most men completely misunderstand what's happening because it feels like you need to do more. But this is actually the moment doing more kills everything. Second mistake, you over-explain. You say everything directly. No mystery, no tension. You explain your thoughts, your intentions. You clarify what you meant. You make sure she understands. You think clarity helps. She feels there's nothing left to explore. And this is where it gets worse, because now there is no reason to think about you later. Everything is already said. Nothing remains open, and what's fully closed doesn't stay in the mind. Third mistake, you try to create attraction with effort. More jokes, more topics, more energy. You try to keep her engaged constantly. If the conversation slows down, you push it forward. You send something new. You change the topic. You don't allow silence. You think more input, more interest. She feels overwhelmed because now you're filling every moment. And this is where everything breaks because attraction doesn't come from constant interaction. It comes from impact, from moments that stay, not messages that repeat. And this is the part no one notices. It's not about how often you talk. It's about what remains after you stop. And this is where it gets deeper, because when there is no space, there is no processing. She doesn't replay anything. She doesn't revisit moments. Nothing stands out. Everything blends together. And when nothing stands out, nothing matters. Here's the insight. She doesn't think about you because you're always there. She thinks about you when something is missing. A pause, a gap, an unfinished moment. Something that didn't fully close. Something that felt incomplete. And her mind returns to it again and again. You think you need to give her more. She actually needs something to come back to. And this changes everything, because now you understand the real mechanism. You don't stay in her mind by being there all the time. You stay in her mind by not being there sometimes, by leaving space after something meaningful, by not closing every interaction, by not explaining everything. So what should you do instead? You stop filling every gap. You don't reply instantly every time. You let conversations end naturally. You don't always restart them. You don't double text. You don't send just checking messages. You don't try to revive the chat every time it slows down. You allow silence fully. You stay consistent, but not constant. You respond when she invests, but you don't over-initiate. You let moments land. And this is where the dynamic shifts. Now she has space to think, to feel, to remember. Now something stays. And that's when you start existing in her mind differently, not through messages, through absence. Attraction doesn't grow when you're always present. It grows when there's something left behind. Most men try to stay in her mind by doing more messages, more effort, more presence. And that's exactly why nothing stays, because there's no space for anything to land. And if nothing stays, there's nothing to think about when you're gone.